Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for appearing today. I heard your statements in your opening remarks about the coronavirus, and certainly in regards to some of the questions that you've had today. I noticed this morning in a report that Axios listed, they quoted from the Global Port Tracker, and it said that traffic at U.S. ports is expected to decline in February almost 13%, and in March between 9 and 10% year over year. Now, assuming that those numbers are true and correct, what impact, if any, would that have on the retail sector, and what impact, if any, would that have on the overall economy?
So I think there's a lot of uncertainty around what the ultimate economic effects will be outside of China and particularly in the United States. And the question will be, we do expect that, consistent with that report, that there would be some effects. The question really will be, what will be the size and scope of them, and also, will they be persistent, or will it be something that just passes through? And ultimately, the bottom line question for us is, does it represent a material change in the outlook, something that we should react to with monetary policy? That's really the question for us, and it's really too early to say. We'll be monitoring it like everyone else will, very carefully, and that's where we are.
Along those same lines, and I'm also from Axios, they quoted from a Bank of America security report. They said they surveyed 3,000 companies about the global supply chain, and that many companies around the world are looking at relocating. They called it in the report a quote-unquote tectonic shift in global supply, looking to other areas of South Asia, India, also North America. My question to you, first of all, I don't know whether you're familiar with the study, this Bank of America Securities study or report or not. Are those numbers, or is that those anecdotal statements, is it consistent with anything that the Federal Reserve is seeing?
I'm not familiar with that report and therefore can't comment on it. I would say there are a number of channels through which this could have an effect, the first of which is just tourism, really. The second is that our ability to export to China is less because, it's just less going on there. So exports could go down. You mentioned really supply chain. So many U.S. companies buy intermediate goods as part of creating their final product. So supply chain issues, we don't have any real evidence on that yet. And I'd say the last channel is really financial markets, which financial markets themselves can be a channel for the transmission of risk-off behavior, which can affect economic behavior. So we'll be looking at all of that. It's way too early to say what it will amount to. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's no way to be kind of confident about anyone's assessment, and there are a range of assessments.
Based on what you just said, I think I know your answer, but I'll ask it anyway. The report it mentioned a number of reasons. One is the tariffs between our country and China and the impact that it's had on China and subsidiary companies, but also automation and the increase in automation. Does that sound consistent with relocating these supply chains?
Well, that's, yes, separate from the questions about the virus. There clearly has been, on the part of American companies, a lot of activity in moving to other jurisdictions, like Vietnam in particular gets mentioned quite a bit. I saw a report last week. A number of other countries have had American businesses moving their production activities out of China to other locations, and that certainly has happened.
Including the United States?
Yes.
Thank you. Or relocating back to the United States. I guess along those same lines, I represent part of Memphis and West Tennessee. In Memphis, just outside my district, there was an announcement Amazon made 2 or 3 weeks ago that they are locating a new facility there. It'll be 1,000 jobs, and incidentally, you had questions on the minimum wage. They're going to start their wages at least $15 an hour plus benefits. But it talked about these new jobs in combination with automation in terms of packing and shipping. You've talked about your concerns of automation and the effect that will have on on employment in the future. Can you see the two coexisting, for instance, like with this Amazon plant?
Well, over the last 2.5 centuries, we've seen advancing technology, and there's been a concern that it would replace human labor, and that has happened. But what has happened, though, is it has made human labor over time more productive. So there's displacement of current workers, but over time, advancing technology has led to rising incomes. But that doesn't mean there won't be disruptions and a lot of pain for people in the short term. But nonetheless, the process over time has led to rising incomes.